Hi. It feels like a super important time to talk about authenticity. The world we live in now is getting pretty intense. It's moving very fast, and there's a lot going on that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I have this thing I wrote. It feels like a super important time in life to really start encompassing authenticity, like fully. I'm aware that a lot of my content is positivity and joy, but I want people to recognize that I don't always feel this way. Granted, I do most of the time, but that's only because I face the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of myself as they come into my awareness. And then I choose to focus on the positive aspects because once I've processed it, I choose to focus on the positive because it's a much nicer experience. I spent so much of my life in so much pain that much of that time was spent disassociating or numbing myself however I could, because it was simply too much to deal with. After losing my parents, I was forced to face myself as I no longer had that safety net to come home to if something went wrong in life. This was a very humbling experience, recognizing how reliant I was on them and those that were close to me at that time. This was the start of a very deep and transformative spiritual consciousness journey for me. I was always very spiritual by nature, but I felt I had to suppress that side of me to make other people comfortable because people don't like what they don't understand. So immediately they jumped to mentally ill or crazy. I was already different, so giving people more ammunition to bully me with didn't really feel like a fun idea to me back then. Now, I understand I simply experienced this world through feeling and not thinking, and I had a lot of feelings that needed to be felt. And yeah, where am I? Even then though, synchronicities and signs would ignite me and excite me on a level that I just never experienced through normal life. This invisible world just made so much more sense to me. Sorry, I don't like. This feels like a speech, and I'm working through a barrier here. I've never been a fan of speeches. Bear with me. So, I followed quietly, still surrounded by non-believers. It was my little secret. My way of accepting the difficulties in life, seeing them as lessons, and finding the strength to get up and keep going. Because I was always being guided by this unseen force. Well, sometimes it came through in the physical. Angels, animal guides would just appear. Sometimes it was just the presence of my parents' energy within me. It was the only thing that was always there. Whether I could see it or not, I could always feel it. And that was enough. 5 years ago, I decided to fully surrender to this way of experiencing life, following what my heart was trying to tell me. An experiment, if you will. And where that has led me has been the most incredibly beautiful, deep, transcending adventure of a lifetime. discovering myself on every level I can, sharing beautiful experiences with people energetically aligned with me at each frequency that I rose through, and seeing the world with so many new perspectives that were forever changing, that I learned through these beautiful people and places. One of the truths I've recently come to learn about myself is that I'm a generational curse breaker and trauma healer. I've always known that I was a healer since maybe my late teens, early 20s, but I wasn't fully aware of what that meant necessarily, or like to what extent. I just knew I was good at helping other people feel good, whether through touch and massage or conversation or just through my art. And art took the driver's seat in my life naturally. I loved to create things for people that they wanted to see but felt they weren't able to make themselves. I thought it was pretty neat to be able to bring so much joy to people through a thing that I loved to do. Though I did burn out after a decade of commission work because it got to the point where I lost my spark and joy within the process. So a few years ago I flipped the switch again and decided to go back to basics and just play with my paint, just make marks, however felt fun at the time. And when I made this decision, everything in my life shifted. I was creating for the sake of creating, and it felt so fucking good. No rules, no restriction, just no completion dates, no perfectly mixed colors, just raw, messy expression. And this changed my entire practice. I haven't used a reference image since. Sometimes they look less impressive than the masterpieces I was whipping out at kindergarten, but it was surprisingly refreshing. It helped me break my inner perfectionist. But sometimes I kept going and I'd add more and more, just feeling into the energy of myself or my environment. And what emerged from those sessions blew my mind. I simply couldn't comprehend how these stunning pieces of art were coming from my very own hands. It was mind-blowing watching them unfold. Which brings us back to spirituality. I learned just last year that I was actually channeling through my vessel when I was making these pieces. These energies from source, consciousness that wanted to be expressed, and I was just making the intangible tangible. I was the boat. By surrendering to whatever wanted to come out. Since discovering this, I've actually found myself stumbling across these pieces at different parts of my journey, later on down the track, and it's almost as if they decipher for me as I reach points in life where I do need some guidance or a little pick-me-up myself. So that's been a fun and pretty cool discovery. But the message I want to convey here is don't hold back the parts of you that are screaming to be seen. Don't let people's opinions or words stop you from being your most authentic self. Their words come from a place of their own insecurity, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. They're usually just jealous because you're doing something that they wish, or subconsciously wish, they were brave enough to do themselves. And that's okay. We can just pray for them to find that courage within themselves to live in their own truth one day too. The other message I want to kind of push here is to create. It's so important for, excuse me, express yourself somehow. I don't care if you say you can't even draw a stick man, as my mum used to say. It doesn't matter. Grab a fucking crayon and scribble all over the page. Pick up a guitar and play it backwards. Dance around the room like a fucking monkey. Sing at the top of your lungs even if you sound like shit. Write a haiku about how the house is a fucking mess. I don't care. Just do something that isn't consuming, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, or anything else that holds you down. The world we live in today isn't the same one as even last year. The only consistency in this life is that it's forever changing. And now it's happening in fast forward, it seems. So when the world's rushing past you, don't try to catch up with it. Take a breath, put your phone down, and do something that makes you feel good inside. Or one day you'll glance up from your phone and it'll all be gone. Pay attention to what lights you up. And make time in your busy schedule to do that wherever, whenever, however the fuck you can. It's for your own good. And for the good of everyone. Like, it's beautiful. And just the act. Use your hands. You need to use your hands. Hands heal. This doesn't heal. This heals. Put yourself first. Love you all. Ciao.